Hi, we're here back again for another signature. It is going to go on the front of page 2. And this is pretty much what I have designed. I'll give you the measurements for each piece when we get there, but the front of this is going to be an 8x8 that has the violin with the piano keys, but you're going to need to pull 2 sheets out for this. One will have music on the top with piano keys across the bottom. The piano keys that go to the bottom of this is going to actually be used on the underside. So you will, like I said, you will pull from it the second piece that has the music sheet and the piano keys across the bottom. This is going to be a flip up and a flip down. So when we flip this down, we are going to be playing with several of your scraps. So I hope you have them, because otherwise it means you're cutting into your 8x8 papers. So this is the piano keys that actually came off the front of this page, but it was not tall enough for me to use to get the magnets on. I needed the larger piece, so I had to go cut a somewhat matching piece for the front, and we're going to come to the back. Now it's still short, but here I can put in a scrap piece that blends in quite well, and I'm hoping that you have it in your stash as well. It's just a nice brown, bronze looking scrap piece that will fit in above the keyboard. Come on. I want to keep these together. All right, so that is that piece. And then for the front of this, I cut one of these small 2x2 cards, and I'm double layering this so that it gives it a little bit of brightness. So I layered it in white, and then I've come in right behind it with blue. I'm going to put it here. That way you've got a spot here on this signature to do a little bit of a dedication or a storytelling. So I'm going to put that aside. No, I don't. I'm fine if I keep these together. I don't lose them. All right, so we're going to turn this over. So then this is the other half to this piece here. And again, when you cut it, it's cut short, so we're going to create a small top pocket up here. And I've gone to my scraps, and this is the piece I have selected, and it will sit right down here, filling in that space. So then you'll have a nice little tuck up here. And then we get to the 2 small side panels. I am playing with some extra papers here, so I'm cutting panels to fit. So this came off of a blue sheet, and I think this was the middle here. So that's what I used there. And then this is an 8x8 sheet that has another piece that I cut out of the center here, and we'll get to where that is in just a second, but this is from an 8x8 sheet. And then this is a piece of scrap that was left over, and I wanted to play with it. So I thought, well, if I'm playing with scraps on this, I can throw this in there. The back side of it is another set of the music sheet. That's going to go there. Then when you flip this up, we're going to do a lot of piece mailing. Here's that strip that fit in between these 2. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to center it as best I can, and then from my scraps, I have 2 pieces that are from like a library section, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to lay over that, and we're going to piece this together. So that's how that's going to look when it's done. And then this piece, this again is from the scraps, and this is cut from the cut aparts. I've backed it on blue cardstock, and it will sit here as a nice embellishment. And then this is the sheet I'm using for my base. And it should be the same measurements as the prior one, which is 7 1/4 across by 7 3/4 in height. So the pocket that will go down here that I cut is going to be 2 1/2 inches by the width, which is 7 1/4. And then I cut this element out, backed it on cardstock, so when I get this put together and I get my pretty little lace on here, this is going to sit in on there on the pocket just about like so. So I'm going to go ahead and add tape to this. And we'll start building it up. If you've not followed along with me on any other builds, I do play with my scraps. I try to be somewhat aware of the papers that I have left and how many signatures I still have to make. So I will constantly be making adjustments to what I use because I take advantage of the scraps that I have. Now I will lay my lace. This is an unbranded lace. I really wish I knew who made it. I'd like to try to find some more of it. It's so delicate, so pretty. But it just came on a spool with no identification. And then I think if I work this just a little bit, where's this? Where's the piece? Where am I looking for? What am I looking for here? This right here. So if I just tack these two down here, this could become a tuck as well as having this pocket. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to run some glue here. And I'm just going to set it at an angle and tuck it in there. I don't want to lose it. Okay, so now it doesn't really matter at this point which we put on first, but I think it might make more sense if we put the side panels on. So, whoops, so these are measuring in at 3 3/4, and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to put some tape on this. I try to have these pre-taped. It saves time on the video as well as you're not watching me tape. You know how to do that. So I'm like, and let me do that here while I've got this tape out. Because we're going to install that here in a second. All right, so this is just going to simply get added on here. Now there will be a little bit of a bulge because you're coming up over that pocket. So you'll feel a little bit of pushback. Don't allow, you control the fold. Don't let the fold control you. Because then you get what I just got, which this is tape right here, and I don't want to see that. Oh, you know what that is? That's the paper. I didn't cut it long enough. Well, never mind. I'm holding this paper still so that the bulk isn't pushing the page out of the way. Just wanted to give that a little bit of a band there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get these added on. And again, this is a solid 8x8 that has journaling on one side and what looks like a blank page on the other. And this is that blank page with the piece cut out of the middle because I'm using this what I cut out up there. You know, and it's okay to piece together scraps. It saves on paper and it makes a great use of them. It gives you a little bit more creativity. So now I wanted to use this blue side. This is from a full 8x8, and I wanted to use the blue side so that I'm kind of pulling in my blue lace. Plus there's blue in this paper, so I wanted to try and pull them in together. My glue is not coming out. And then this one here. Okay, so the two side panels are done. Let's work on this piece that's going to come down in the middle between them. It can come down between them with this being closed like this so that this all matches that way, or you can pull it to the front and it can look this way. It's entirely up to you. But this is a piece of extra that was left over, and it's the back side of some music. So this is going to measure across at just a hair over 3 1/4. So for you, cut it down to 3 1/4. I could trim that down so it makes sense, but, and then I'm at 8 1/4 in length with a score at 1/2 inch and a score at 5/8 of an inch. And then we're going to add some tape here, and with the buildup of the 1/8 inch, that's going to allow you to come over and hold these 2 pages down if that's what you want, or like I said, put it underneath. It isn't going to really matter. But for the sake of pulling this to the front, I am going to try and find the center. Turn it over, and then I'm going to pull this up to that 1/2 inch score line. And then if you push back on that 5/8 score line, you're re-score it, so you re-encourage it to do its job. So then I'm going to go ahead and add this piece in. And then you'll just cut to fit this. And then I'm going to fold this up. It's going to be easier to work on it on this side. So now my intent is I'm going to put this down. I'm going to glue it down the center. I want this in the background, and I want the 2 library cuts in the foreground. And if you are a meticulous person and you want to cut them to fit, go ahead. I am just simply going to lay these right over the top. I'm going to line it up on the bottom, give myself a little bit of an edge over here. This way it kind of looks like a wall that's in between 2 bookcases. A secret panel, maybe. Line it up across the bottom, give myself a little bit of an edge, and there we go. So that is that piece, and it gives you, for those smaller photos, a great place to put them, as well as here. So this is what we have so far. Now let's get the, I don't want to lose anything here. Let's get the bottom on first, because we're going to match the top to the magnets. Get my tape on. Now this particular piece, I cut it at 3 1/2 inches, and then I'm using smaller magnets. I'm using 3 of them. If you've got one big one and it suffices for you, that's fine, but I'm getting close to running out, so I'm going to use 3 small ones. And then this is going to come up under here. Now, I have, sorry, I forgot to tell you, you're going to score it at 1/2, and you're going to score it at 3/4. This 3/4 inch gusset is going to absorb everything that we've just built, so that there's room for additional photos or documents to slip inside here because of the pockets. So this is going to come, let's turn this over. I want this gusset in the front. So this is how I want my gusset to look. It's going to be down here on the end. It's going to be in the front for me. And that means if you can see how this lays right here, that this edge is going to come up to this 1/2 inch score mark. So when I turn this over, I want to bring this edge right up to my 1/2 inch score line, and that will keep that gusset in this position. It will keep it in the front. Fold this over, and you'll start to feel the bulk, the buildup. Now I'm going to push back against the gusset because I want to kind of rescore it so that it knows its position. And there we go. And let's take all of this apart. And I need to put my tape on. Now this piece is the same. It's 7 1/4 across, the signature. But it's going to be 6 3/4 or 6 5/8. It's closer to that, 6 5/8 in length here, with a score at 1/2 and a score at 3/4 once again. And the same situation. Now we have a 1/2 inch that we're going to be building over. So this, I want this to sit up straight just like this. So for that to happen, this time, we need to come up to the 3/4 inch score line, because I want this on the hinge here on the top. Let's see if I can get that pressed down there. Hold it in place. Whoops, come back here, please. Oops, I'm tearing it. I want this signature to be taped at this 1/2 inch score mark, because this gusset that we just built right here, the 3/4 gusset, is going to absorb this 1/8 inch gusset that we've already built with this center piece. So this then folds over, placing that at the top. Now I'm going to take off my magnet backs and I'll make sure that this is all square in its alignment. And then give, gosh, that came off pretty easily, actually. I'm quite surprised. All right, so let's get this taped. I'm not gluing this, I'm going to tape it. By using the correct side. Let me pull that off of there. Hold on just a second. See, this would have been that piece. So that was the back side of it. So I guess I could use either side. I like the red to continue, so I am going to use this side as my front. And I think when you cut yours, you turn it over, you'll see that it is the reverse side to the piano one on the front. And if this is your first album build with me, I tape where my magnets are, so if I have to get into them for whatever reason, I can without destroying the whole project. Give myself some room up there at the top. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the underside, and I'm going to start with this piece. My scrap piece for filling in. Now when I inked the edges, I only inked 3 because I didn't need to waste the ink on the edge that's going to get covered. And I guess I get to decide which one I want to use. I think I'll use this side. And I'll come down here, place it where I want my edge to be, and then line them up. And that is done. So let's go ahead and work on I think I'm going to work on the inside of this first. I'm going to tape it in place. And just so you know, the reason I'm using this, covering this side with tape, is because we're using this same matching piece on the front, so I don't want to repeat it. So we're going to use this on the back side. Okay, let's take this tape off. And because it's short, I'm going to pay more attention to how I'm lining it up at the top, because I'm going to put a pocket down here to fill in the bottom part of it. And then my little pocket here, it's just tiny. It's 1 5/8, and I took this out of my scraps. And the scraps that I have left right now, I've got one fairly good sized blue one, but then everything else is rather thin. I don't know that I'll be doing much with those thin pieces, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what I have other than this piece here. So that might become a pocket later on, because like I said, I like to play with my scraps. And you know, you look at a piece of paper and you don't see something. And I mean that in the way of, once you've cut it, you then see it entirely different. It was like the piece in the scraps that had the buildings on it that we cut on the last signature. It's kind of cool to be able to take a look at a scrap and see it differently, because you don't have all the other pieces to get the rest of the paper to get in your way. And I've found some really nice, intriguing pieces doing that. Now, I'm not putting anything fancy on this. If you want to, you can. All right, so now we're going to glue this on. Once we get it glued on, then we're going to go ahead and glue on. Now, there are a few of these little I think they're 2x2s. You can pick out the one that you like. You can double mat it or not. It's entirely up to you. But I thought I would put a dedication here on the front. Okay, so I'm going to glue my mats together first. I think I'm going to end up trimming down this white one just a smidgen. Not much, just a smidgen. I kind of want it balanced in there a little bit better. I'm going to take off just a hair more. I may end up having to trim this piece. Okay, so let's see how this looks on here. Like I said, oh no, well, yeah, I do. Well, no, yeah, I'm gonna trim off just a hair. Now, before I ink it, I'm gonna. Okay. And then I'm just going to glue it to the front. And that gives the future owner of this a little place to put a dedication. So let's go ahead and get the tape on the back. do a flip through real quick. We got a pocket. We have a nice spot here for photos. We've made a spot here for photos. We've got photos up here with that pocket. Nice place to put small photos throughout. And then my 3/8 to run a couple of strips for support down the middle. Let's grab our book. And we're going to turn it over, and this is going to come in here and sit just like this. And I am going to turn it this way so I can see once again, and I repeat it a lot, but I need to be able to see 3 of the 4 sides for mounting. And then I'm going to make sure I've got the right side up. I'm going to come right to the edge, and I need to put a offsetting color here so I can see this blue better. Blue onto blue. Okay. Burnish this in here. And then we'll start taking the tapes off. And I'm going to pay close attention to my gusset, make sure it's laying in the right position. Come on. And then the same with this one. I'm going to make sure my gusset is laying in the right position. And now this is going to be a challenge, so I apologize if I'm flopping this around a lot, but I've got to get into this last strip. I've got 3 sides down. I should have pulled this before. So I'm going to be smudging it just a little bit to get in there. Straighten up my gusset. All right, so now let's give this thing a nice good close. Okay, I just realized my battery was low. I don't know how much of this video got cut off, so I may have to come back on the second signature. I'll have to watch this and see what's missing in the build. But we've got it mounted in the album. And we're done. I apologize. I hope I didn't miss anything. I should have had it plugged in. I don't know what to say. I'll see you on the next, and I'll watch this and see if there's anything I need to fill in for you.